What's going on, y'all? Welcome to BoomBapTricks on All Real Radio. I am hearing myself clear right now.
I can hear.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can hear.
You guys can't hear?
No, I can hear.
Okay,
there
that
would
help. Yeah.
What's going on?
Value up.
Cool. We are back. What's going on? This is BoomBapTricks on All Real Radio. Hashtag WeAreDenver. We're here at the Ghost House Studios. And we have an all-star lineup of some cool guests today. LaRae, what'd you do to this week?
This week was pretty fun, unlike last week when I did nothing. I went to the Women's Chamber of Commerce annual event. I got invited to that, and it's pretty expensive. So as a small-time business entrepreneur, normally I wouldn't even spend the money to go to that. It's like $200 a person just to attend. And I think it's like $500 a year to join. And so I got my ticket donated to me, and it was amazing. I have a newfound respect for Jake Jabs. He facilitated some of the conversations. The workshops were amazing. CU Denver has a facility that was donated by Jake Jabs. He donated like $20 million for it. And what he wanted is to make sure that CU engaged community. So that's why they hosted it there. It was super, super amazing. And I felt more, I guess, ready to tackle some things I hadn't had the energy to do. So it was super, super cool. Also, I had met a few people that I gave my business card to, and they added me to their newsletters and emailed me the very next day. And so I was like, dang, I haven't even looked through my pile yet. So that also showed me like I need to step it up. So I had a good week.
Awesome. It sounds like it. What about you, Anthony? What you get into this week?
I tricked off most of the week. If you don't know what that means, then just don't worry about it. But I actually I'm putting together a project. You know about it, but I ain't really released the details of it. And just met some people that reached out to me that's going to help me do some things. So that was pretty cool. Did a couple shows. That's about it. It's pretty good week.
Well, here in Denver today, or this week, we have the NPS going on, the National Poetry Slam. That's been going on all downtown in Denver. We have all the top ranked poets in the world that are here currently doing slam poetry. Some of them are on teams. Slam Nuba is one of the teams that has always contributed, as well as Mercury Cafe. I believe some of the poets from Cafe Coutura are now doing things in collaboration with Slam Nuba for this poetry slam. And I've just been seeing wordsmiths all downtown.
The finals was yesterday, right? I think the finals was yesterday.
I think so. And they're doing like this week coming up, they're actually going to be, I believe, in Breckenridge doing workshops or Telluride. They're going to be in the mountains doing workshops, writing workshops during the week. I was a part of 48 hours of art and activism with the Red Line Art Gallery. And that was just some of the top creators and innovators within activism. Kenny Baca, Melina Speaks, a variety of different people, Panama Soweto, were a part of these discussions, talking about how to engage community utilizing art and how to push forward community through that. So that was fun. And there are some great things going on this weekend. On Saturday, we have Meet in the Streets again, too. So
The other thing I forgot to mention is we had our comedy show at Rising Sun Distillery Thursday, and it was an interesting event. We've been packing it out like the last 3-4 months, and I wasn't sure how this week was going to go because it was the first Bronco game of the season, and football started, and so I just wasn't sure what attendance was going to be. And we had about, I'd say, 10 paying people come, and we had 12 comedians show up. Of that 12, 7 of them weren't booked. So for me, that kind of made me a little proud in two ways, is that I felt like a little community has like developed, and so they're just showing up. It was never offered to them that if they showed up, they'd have time, and they just showed up to support everyone there. So that was really cool to see. And then also Anthony was the host, and he allowed some of them to do like 5 minutes that, we didn't have scheduled. So that was it was fun.
Very cool.
Ray would also like to mention how amazing of a host that I am.
Yeah.
One of the best you'll ever see in your lives. Like I said, with all confidence. Thank you, LaRae.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And we're gearing up this week for our Leo party. So,
This Saturday.
Yeah.
This Saturday.
19th,
Yep.
over at Bar Red.
Yep.
What time does it start?
9:30.
You gonna be that ill or you got some shit going on?
I got kids. So it's going to be me and the kids on Saturday night. We're going to be live streaming. I'll watch you guys.
Okay. That's kind of sad. I feel sad that you're not going to be there.
Talk to my kids about it.
I will.
You
I'm
will.
sure they'll understand me.
Well, right on.
So I'm really excited to have some special guests here today. I've been driving Lyft for the last year to help get by, as my business isn't in the black yet. And I met these two wonderful souls, Lauren and Corey, and we talked a little bit about their traveling, and they were getting ready to go to Seattle when I met them. They talked a lot about traveling around the world and seeing a lot of social justice and nonprofits, and kind of like showcasing them with their videos. They both are artists as well, so I'd like to welcome them and maybe have each one of them tell a little background about themselves.
Sure. Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. My name is Corey. I am originally from St. Louis, moved to Florida, and that's where we met at college, and kind of always had artistic thoughts in mind, started going to college thinking I want to be a doctor, and that is not me at all. That's insane now that I think about it. And then got into television and basically audiovisual media, and kind of just stuck with that, and here I am today, moving out to Denver, where I always wanted to end up at, basically.
So do you have a business where people can contact you to do work for them too?
I have just CoreyDobbs.com, which is KORYDOBBS, Corey with a K. And there they can contact me there, or hit us up on our social media stuff, where I do freelance stuff. But I currently also work down in Centennial for Stars, so it's been good to have like a balance of like an actual paycheck rather than trying to do freelance here and there.
Yeah.
Is it Stars National Conference? Or
It's the Stars premium cable channel.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't even.
Il doesn't have cable.
Yeah.
We don't have cable either.
I
So.
have Netflix.
We got
And
you know
Hulu.
what? I think we got shows on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got shows on Hulu, so
Have you heard of Power? That's
Yes.
pretty
Yes,
poppin'
yes,
right
yes,
now.
yes,
That's
yes.
a Star show.
It's a good show, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got that job. It's been great.
Awesome,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm Lauren. We met in college, and I also just want to clarify what Corey does, because he constantly undersells himself.
Yeah.
He does videography, photography, animation. He hand draws cartoons and crazy shit, and then we'll animate them, make them come to life, do a whole cartoon, do the voices. He makes his own music, start to finish. He does beat making. He plays several instruments, and he'll record himself on track and layer them and make his own music and shit.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, that stuff's like my passion.
Yeah.
The cartoons and the music is my passion, and the corporate quote unquote videos and stuff help pay the bills. So.
Right.
All around Renaissance.
We should get together and do a cartoon. I can write and you can just
There
animate.
you go, man. Yeah.
really
I thought
awesome.
when I first reached out to Lauren, I told her, I was like, I'd like to have you guys on our show, just because of the amazingness that they both bring. She was like, well, I don't know if we're really, enough to be on your show. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we met in college. Both of our undergrad degree is in mass comm, so television
University of
production.
South Florida.
Yeah,
Give them a
go
shout
Bulls.
out. Yeah, go Bulls.
Tampa, Florida. I worked in marketing. I stayed in school after undergrad, went to grad school, did more of the marketing track or whatever. He moved 2 hours away, was working at a news station. That's pretty much like the first job you get out of school when you do a mass comm degree.
NBC2, Fort Myers, another shout out.
The like shittiest shifts. Like he was going in at like 2 a.m.
Typical, anybody who's worked
graveyard,
in news
you know what I
knows
mean? The overnight
the
5
grind,
a.m. news, you know. So yeah, after college, I worked in marketing, made a lot of money, but the people sucked.
Yeah,
And
that was a rough go.
honestly, I just realized that I was doing nothing but like making rich people richer. And I grew up really low income, so I thought having a fat paycheck would be like, oh, this is like, I'm living now. You know, this is like the goal, but it sucked. So
It's strange the way people treat you.
Yeah.
It's just like when you break out and you try to have a positive view on a lot of things, and then you just kind of get this backlash from the world, and you're like, man, I guess I got to reset my priorities, which has been good, actually. It's been good.
So we wanted to do something more community driven, something that was more purposeful. So I had a friend at the time who I honestly didn't even really know that well, but we took a class together or something in college, and she joined Teach for America, which is they're put on by the same people who do the Peace Corps. It's called AmeriCorps. One of their programs, they have, really qualified people apply, and they pluck them up wherever they are and plop them in some low-income community in a Title I school somewhere across the United States. So you don't really have a choice in where you're going. You select the top 10 cities that you would consider, and then they kind of put you where you would be a good fit. So that's what moved us to Dallas, Texas. It was an amazing experience. When I got there, they just so happened to have an opening for a teacher in the same school I was going to be working at for an audio-visual teacher.
Yeah, I was just in the hallway.
Yeah, and they couldn't fill it, and they're trying to find, that's kind of a unique background to find someone who has audiovisual but also wants to teach. You know what I mean? We were like a week before school was starting. I
had just gotten done with an interview with CBS in Fort Worth, and so I was like, maybe I'll go out and do this thing, and I showed up to help her clean and fix up her classroom, put up all the teacher stuff on the walls, and the principal was like, hey, I heard you're into audiovisual stuff. I was like, yeah, that's what I do. And he's like, well, we're looking for a teacher. And she calls me the luckiest man in the world. I really am. Like, I get just every opportunity. I mean, I know I put in work like I do, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you want a job? And I was like, oh, yeah. All right. It's like, in this market, yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? So
he was like nice enough to up and move with me from Tampa to Dallas with no intention of like doing what I was going to do, which was teaching and totally doing this career switch and stuff. But
yeah, I was just intrigued by Dallas because I don't even know, the fourth market in the country or fifth, but I think they just got passed by Houston. And the way it works in television is the DMA or the market, every step up is a paycheck step too. So Tampa was like 13, so I was like, oh, she was like, hey, we might move to Dallas. I'm like, not to see dollar signs, but I saw some, I was like, all right, there's an opportunity here to make a little bit more money and do similar things I'm doing now in a bigger market, get a little bit more exposure. Yeah.
But then we became teachers instead.
Which was the best choice.
Yeah.
I honestly have,
awesome.
like, the best choice I made as far as my career goes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great opportunity. The kids were great.
Yeah, we still talk to them all the time.
Oh, wow.
Good
And we just went back to visit them in March, a couple months after we went to Seattle. And yeah, I mean, so all this background basically to kind of describe how we got to these brands now that we're managing. We moved to Dallas. We're there for a couple months. Things are really crazy. We're making this huge transition. And then I ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, it was crazy. And I was 25. I'm 27 now. So
Right in the middle of the school year, too.
It was like in November. Well, it was November when I found the cancer, and then it was like the day before Christmas when I was diagnosed.
Yeah.
So it was literally like smack dab in the middle of the school year. And even though it was an amazing experience teaching and being in this Title I school and all this stuff, I mean, real talk, like especially me, because I had an academic subject.
Yeah.
He had like a
Again,
elective.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
I didn't have state testing for
I'm like
audiovisual.
suffering
Yeah.
and like grading essays. I had English, and I had 9th grade and 12th grade remedial English. So it was the 12th graders who kind of got passed through and didn't get the attention that they should have gotten a long time ago. You know what I mean? So they were really struggling. I'm trying to think, like, how the fuck am I going to prepare these kids for college next year? Because we were a college prep charter school that specifically tried to get low-income kids from Z to A versus their, more comfortable counterparts, their peers who make more money in their family who only have to go from C to A. You know what I mean? So it was a rigorously tested school. It was all about testing, all about homework, all about just trying to catch them up to speed for all the years that they may have missed somewhere. You know what I mean? So even though we loved it, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, I can't do this shit.
Yeah,
I can't work 75
reset.
hours every week. You know what I mean? I'm 25. Now I have cancer. Like, what the fuck? Like, I need to work out. I need to, like, make healthy food. I need to, like, have some work-life balance. I can't do this.
Live in a city with less smog.
I definitely went into your website for is it
FICA. So it's short for thyroid cancer.
Okay.
So in the thyroid cancer community, they just say FICA.
So what was interesting to me, or really, I guess, amazing to read, is how you talked about how once you were diagnosed, like, it really didn't hit you. And then once finally it did, you were like, man, I've had this for a while.
Yeah.
Just to share a story about myself, I think I was 22, and I had this weird, like, growth under my armpit. I was shaving one day, and I was like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, I have a physical. And then it just got big. It got softball size.
Oh, man.
And when I went to the doctor, they were like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I'm going to send you to my friend who deals with more of this kind of stuff than me. And I went, and it was a breast cancer specialist. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
They didn't even tell me. I'm
No big
22.
deal.
I hadn't told,
Yeah.
no one in my family. And so I went, and she said, oh, we're going to send you to the hospital and get a CAT scan. I was like, okay. And I went, and they called me. They're like, we'll call you in a week or two. They called me later that day. And they were like, we think you have, what did she tell me? A malignant tumor. She was like, and we want to do surgery next week.
Oh my God.
So I didn't tell anybody. I kept doing my stuff, and then I went and talked to my mom. I was like, yeah, they said I have a malignant tumor. My mom lost her shit. And I'm 22. I didn't process it. My mom's like, you need to slow down. You need to eat better. You need to tone back on your hours. I was like, for what? No. So I had the surgery. It was a sarcoma they ended up removing, and I want to say, like, I never processed it, so reading your words was kind of the same. And then I was taking this English class, and this kid in my class came in bald one day. And he was brilliant, and he was like, I have brain cancer, and I started treatment, and I lost my shit.
Yeah.
And then that's how I was like, holy crap, I need to, like, revisit this. So reading what you had written in there, everybody should go to the website and read it.
They're
was really
great.
intriguing.
Yeah, I've read the ones that she's put up so far, and they're just, it's exactly the truth. And I think that's what people need to hear in those situations. Because when we were in the endocrinologist, which is another one of those things, we're going to send you to a specialist, and you're like, all right, you start Googling, medical words, you're like, oh, damn, this is not looking good. And we were in the office, and she kind of just turned and said it, and it was kind of matter of fact. I mean, doctors are doctors, and they deal with this. Yeah. And we drove home, didn't really think about it, and talked about it a little bit, tried to prepare a little bit, but it didn't even hit me until we were in the hotel in Houston, and she was gone for like 4 hours for testing, and I just was like, oh man, this is real. This is something that's very real, and
it's just not something you think about when you're young. I mean, you know what I mean? Who's ever...
And there's no process within that, within going and seeing the doctor, them telling you and you starting some kind of treatment to help mentally prepare you, especially at 20.
Right.
So when you had told me that you were going to start a nonprofit in regards to, being that young, because you're an adult, you're old enough, like your parents aren't responsible for you. It's all about you. They're overreacting because you're their kid. kid, and these physicians are like, oh, she's young. Let me just tell her the facts. We just got to get this done.
Right.
And you have no processing time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's a very weird age because it's almost like you see children who get cancer, you see older people who get cancer, maybe some teenage, but to be like in your young mid-20s, it's a very awkward, like, how should I be handling this right now? I am an adult, but this is so unexpected. Like, who's preparing for that shit?
And you don't want to deal with it. You just want to keep going with your activities because, like you had said, they said you probably had it in your teens.
Since I was a teen, yeah.
So you're going through this thing, oh, I've had it since I was 9. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing
Just
and
ignore
hopefully
it.
get it fixed. But then after it's all done and you get a little older, you're like, holy shit, I could be dead.
Right,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after that happened, I went through my treatment in January is when it started. Surgery was in February. By March was spring break in the school year, and we had to make a decision if we were going to stay or not. And because I was there through Teach for America, you're basically in like a 2-year contract. So I would have had to, break my contract and leave. I wasn't really worried about that, though, because I'm like, if I go tell someone that I just got fucking diagnosed with cancer and they're like, well, you have a contract, I'm just going to be like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you can go fuck yourself. Like, cancer. Like, what are you going to say to me? You know what I mean? I'm leaving. Like, I could just said I'm going home to my family or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you were quitting to work at Starbucks.
It was a legitimate reason, and I had some shit to focus on. So we made the choice that, like, look, we're gonna just live life however we want to live life now, and we're gonna take charge of shit. And I love the kids, but I can't do this job, and we'll stay in touch with them, and we'll mentor them, and make sure that we do our part to stay with them, but we need to get out and go do what we want to do.
Again, it was another like priority reset. And one of the things that we connected on early is I told her when we first started dating, I was like, I really want to live in Colorado someday. Because my family was visited out here, and I love it out here. And so we were just like, I think this is the moment to make the step and move to Colorado. And then on top of that led into Dobbs and Dubs.
Right.
And we were kind of just like, all right, so what do we actually want to do? Like I told her this morning, like, I have a really hard time figuring out what I actually want to do. Like, I have a million different hobbies. Like, even last week, I was looking up, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I know.
I get dabs into every, like, little thing. I'll stick my, finger in the water for a little bit. And so I was like, all right, what are we actually good at? What is our skill set? How can we do something and feel
Not
good
hate
about
it.
Yeah, feel good about it in a way. And that's when Dobbs and Dubs came up, because we really wanted to start traveling. We wanted to expand on like our love of food in different communities and stuff. Being creative. The music stuff I had always made and never really had a purpose for, and that's why I just put the music on there. And then on top of it was like trying to be better at community outreach and stuff. And so when we planned our little Dobbs and Dubs trips, we always try to do something that will help give back. And it's been kind of hard to get something in the communities we've been going to, but if we can't do it when we get there or do something like that, we'll figure out a way to help out either people here in Denver or try to get some sort of help back to the community we were in. Even if we just tell people like, hey, this is happening here, maybe somebody will hear that and move to Seattle or something to help out with like the drug problem up there.
Right.
So it's stuff like that, and hopefully it's basically trying to blend all the stuff we love to do kind of selfishly in a weird way with a non-selfish entity, so we could sleep at night and feel better.
But it also sounds like, at heart, you guys have a lot of like social justice activism, community already ingrained in you. So adding that together isn't really like so. Yeah.
No, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And then the fact that you want to bring information and help build community here and also give to the communities you visit is huge. We went to Houston in February, and we saw a lot of co-op.
Yes.
Living.
Yeah, it was huge out there.
And we were like,
cool.
man, we need to do that here.
Yeah. I think in Houston, that's one of the powers they have in their communities is that they'll go ahead and make sure that they galvanize the power that they have out there by like looking at everybody's resources and figuring out how they can collaborate those resources.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen as much here in Denver. I think Denver,
Or in our country,
yeah,
sadly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in Houston, it's out of necessity, especially living in the wards. You know, they're under-resourced anyway, so they have to be more creative in the ways that they engage the problems around there. Where in Denver, it's really grant-based. Like, I feel like most of the nonprofits that are launched out here, they look for not necessarily community support, but they go for a lot of the federal dollars that are floating around within the grant game out here, which is kind of what Denver is. It's like a nonprofit industrial complex that's happening out here because of that. So like it makes it kind of a weird type of interaction in these different communities that are kind of developing, which was refreshing about Houston because it's such a organic grassroots style of movement.
Yeah.
I got a question. So how long have you two been together actually?
Well, we've known each other for like, what, 8? No, that's too long. We've known each other for a long time, 7 years, because we were friends in college at first.
For a couple years.
Yeah, and then we kind of got separated a little bit. I moved, and then we started talking again. But like our
We've been
relationship,
officially together for about 5 years now.
yeah, a long road around that.
How did y'all
question.
get together?
Just in the same class, and
No, I can tell you the
Alright,
truth.
yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say this don't sound right.
that we met in class.
We
She
did.
walked in,
We
and I
did.
was like,
Did you ask her out or what happened?
I asked her out actually while she was
Traveling.
She was
By
in
myself.
Chicago, and I was like, I felt weird about it. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna ask.
He wanted to nail things down because I was solo traveling in Chicago.
Yeah,
right?
that-
I mean,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
I get it. Yeah, you're trying to claim your territory.
It was like the day
doing
I
out there,
got
Chicago,
there.
girl?
He
I
was like,
wanna peep
listen.
at you.
Right? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. No, I mean, that's how it happened. Yeah, we met. It was spring semester. I actually just entered a relationship with someone else 2 days before I met Corey. So I walked into a particular class.
I was in the back.
He was in the
on
back already. I like cracked a joke to the room. No one even acknowledged me. He kind of like laughed, and I was like, all right.
I was like, all right, finally, somebody's not taking this shit so seriously. And, like everybody, it was like, you know, our first. Anybody who's been to college knows there's like all the regular classes, and then the first step up to when you're
Of
actually
your
doing your
sequence,
real thing.
of your major.
And that was like one of our first big classes. So
classes,
everybody,
yeah.
it was like a news production class, and a lot of people came in with like this idea of wanting to be like an anchor or a reporter, like, hi, I'm trying, you know, like that type of thing. And then I was just kind of sitting in the back, and like she said, she cracked a joke, and I laughed, and she kind of came and sat back there, and like was just like, what's up with all these people? I was like, yeah, okay, good. All right, I got somebody on the same page, because right now this seems a little stiff. And then from then...
yeah, we became friends. It turned out that we had another class together. So that particular class met on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We ended up having another class together that met Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So then we were spending every day together because we had class together every day. And we really appreciated each other's humor, obviously. So we started working together on projects because, like he was saying, we were in our sequence then. So we were doing we were doing a lot of camera-heavy stuff by then. We were actually making our own little short films, our own little shows.
Directing and
we were
all
in
that.
those classes where we got to do that shit.
You were in a relationship with the other dude.
Yeah.
You played the long game. I get it.
I never interfered.
No, he was always
I never did
respectful.
anything.
No, you
Nope.
don't. You encourage
Exactly.
you say, hey, it's going to work out. And
Right.
you just sit there. Because you know they're going to mess up.
It was a terrible
That's
relationship.
hilarious.
It's the long game. It's the long game.
It is.
No, yeah, honestly.
It is, man. It really is. Because the first time I saw her in class, I was just like, I'm terrible at that stuff too, because I'm not
Yeah,
confident
he's
at all. So I was like, all
very
right, I got to figure
shy.
out my long way into
Yeah.
like.
Long game. Just be there for her. Y'all
Yeah.
create that bond. And then as soon as the guy messes
That's
up,
kinda-
girl, look at here right here.
Look at our hobbies. We did this video together.
Well, yeah, we would do videos together, and it would just be so much fun because
Yeah,
it
it'd be
was
so easy,
she understood my
you
sense
know?
of humor, and then like we had a couple other people who would understand it, and because I have like a pretty dark sense
He
of
makes some
humor.
weird stuff
I
on
make
his
some
own.
weird stuff, so
Yeah.
when I describe it to people, sometimes they're
They
like,
don't really get it.
We'll get along.
yeah.
Especially in college, like all these other kids are like,
Well, even one of my professors was like, I gave him one of my projects, and it's basically like this. I had like a rabbit costume, like a big
It was
like
weird.
like, and
I
I,
don't get
basically
it.
yeah, it was just kind of like a story about a hunter who falls in love with this rabbit. It's so stupid. It was so stupid. And my professor watches it and he's like bobbing his head and he's like, you know, it's demented. And I was like, all right, I'll take that. I'll take that. You know,
You would see it on Adult Swim at like 4.
Yeah, it was
15.
fun. So we
Robot
in the
chicken
morning.
type stuff.
I love
basically,
that
yeah,
type of stuff.
yeah.
Adult Swim.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was out there, and all my friends who were helping me make it were like, "This is gonna be terrible, man." And my one friend who's like in most of it, he plays like the rabbit guy in it. He takes the head off of the rabbit and he's looking at me. He's like, "It's hot. It's Florida." And he's like,
It's humid.
oh, it was terrible. We shot it in like the swamp behind my apartment. And he was just like, "Man, I don't understand what's going on here." And I was like, "All right." But then, you know, that's why we got along so well, is because she understood. I would say stuff to her. She'd be like, "Oh, I could see that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good."
Or I would say, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's really
and
stupid.
no one else. Like, I'm a very just...
Yeah, she's very honest.
You
And
know what I mean?
it's been like, that's exactly what I needed in my life, was like somebody who would tell me the good things are good, but then also not hold back. All right, yeah, that is dumb. Don't spend all your time on
You know
that.
what's interesting about this? We had a hip hop artist here last week, and he was talking about who was it in Canada that was going to buy his video. But anyway, his wife was like, he didn't want to sell it because he wanted to keep his publishing rights.
His own rights.
And
yeah.
she basically told him, that video is just all right. You should have sold
funny.
it. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And I
Record
thought,
label
man,
out there.
that's why they've been together so
Right,
long.
right.
Because she
For real.
doesn't just...
Well, I say that
cover
all the
his
time
ego.
about her, because
Yeah.
like I make music, I draw pictures, I do all this creative medium, and you know, like if I see her, if I'm making a song or something and I put it on the loudspeaker, like unplug my headphones and put it on the loudspeaker, I don't even say anything to her. I just watch her, and then all of a sudden I see her head start to bob. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then sometimes she'll just be like, literally, like she'll be typing and then she'll look up and she'll be like, what is that? I'm like, yeah, you're right. That sounds pretty terrible.
What's your meter?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good music.
Yeah.
So do you feel like artists dating each other and then getting married ultimately, how do you think you have to navigate differently than a couple who are different? They don't
I think
have
it's
that
we have
RC
different personalities. So it just balances in that way, kind of. Like, she's way more directive and driven than I am, but I'm more laid back and just kind of go with the flow kind of thing, and it seems to honestly balance us out.
Yeah.
I'm also very sensitive, and she's
That's what I
not.
was
So
gonna
she's like my
Yeah.
she's like my I don't even know what the word would be, but like she takes the brunt force for me and dilutes it down, and then but also is knows how to handle me, and then it's just been a good balance.
Man,
I think-
that sounds beautiful.
I think with our skill set, we got lucky. 'Cause
Yeah, we got lucky.
I mean, and I think that goes back to being friends back
Right.
when we were making these little videos. Because, like, I mean, I could draw a line down a piece of paper and say, Lauren does this, Corey does that. Like, I'm Dobbs and Dubs. I'm the visionary. I have the aerial point
planning.
of view. I'm the planner. I have
She's the executive
ideas.
producer,
Yeah.
and I'm the
He's
creative,
the technical
artistic
Yeah.
director
Yeah.
or whatever.
His editing
Makes sense.
skills are amazing. His video skills are way better than mine. If I have to shoot something, it's not going to look as
You've
good
gotten
as
way
mine.
better.
I'm telling
I've
you,
gotten
good.
better,
It's good.
but
Seattle video is off the chain.
But
Yeah,
see,
I'm
like
glad you
that,
like it.
the
The
editing
quality,
is
the
really what
editing.
does it, and that's
You could
That's
sell
him.
that to Seattle to give to their peeps.
Oh,
the
yeah.
music is all him. He makes it all original, but he doesn't have, like he said, he's not as motivated
I
as
can't
me
tell somebody to fuck off either. She's very
Whereas
good
I'm
at that.
great at that.
Yeah.
I
I'm a
can do
professional
that.
at
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my
when people
card
start to
says
fuck with
fuck
us,
off.
like
Just kidding.
it's like,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
can
I'll
do the
defer.
business.
Yeah.
If someone's trying to pull one over, I'm like, no. You know what I mean?
So the direction that you guys took your business, was that something that you talked about, or did it just naturally like kind of progress in that direction where you were like more socially like conscious about who you were engaging and like the wanting to give back to the community? Was that something that you like had planned at the beginning when you were developing your business, or how did that come about?
So really the process was back at that March springtime, we were like, okay, we made the choice, we're going to quit, we're going to move to Denver. what the fuck else are we going to do? And from that moment until June, when we actually moved, we would, you know, go on walks, go on exercises. And pretty much it was me, because I am the planner, coming up with, I probably came up with, and I still do this, I come up with business ideas
every day.
every day. And,
And my head's in the clouds, so she pulls me back down.
Yeah,
and she's
I'm
like, hey, this is actually a tangible thing. And I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, that'd be cool.
And I am so thorough and detailed, almost to where it's annoying, where he gets very overwhelmed by details, and especially if something's very far out, he's like, look, can't we just like focus on
10-year
shit
plan
right
is
here?
hard for me to think.
Right, where I'm like, no, look, we have, you know, the first year we do this, and year 2 we do it, by year 5 we're here, year 10 we're, you know what I mean? I'm like mapping it all out.
Right,
We're gonna
right.
make money like this. This is what it's gonna cost us. This is where we're gonna do this. You know?
Dope.
So Dobbs and Dubs originally was 15 other business ideas that we talked about out loud, and it was like, well,
It's a notebook or a folder somewhere full of random ideas
Scribbles,
and like, hey, if we did this, we could do this. And it basically got back to narrowing down something.
right.
Like,
And also, like, I think there are a lot of things, especially creative people who do have a lot of skills and interests. There, you know, some skills and interests may just be good for being skills and interests, because if you go and try to turn it into a business, you're gonna fucking hate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like cooking, I love cooking. When we first started dating, that was a big thing. We would go get some crazy ingredients. We would make some elaborate meal. We'd throw down. We're drinking wine. It's taking 6 hours. I thought for a minute, oh, well, why don't we do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it would ruin cooking for me.
Right.
There's too many people involved. The health scare is a factor. You know what I mean? The temperatures, everything is, it would just ruin that passion.
it's a lot of stress.
So what can we do that is beneficial in some way? Because we are those types of people. That was always a part of the equation. But does include our skill sets, will allow us to travel, so we're not going to be stuck somewhere. We didn't want to have a brick and mortar building where we couldn't move, because we don't know where we want to be.
Yeah, just the way business is nowadays on the
Nowadays,
internet.
yeah, it's like
we wanted to be able to just be free,
travel.
but also with internet connection, you know, solve
Do
our
something,
problems anywhere
right.
we go.
And then also something that's not going to make us, you know, take away that passion because we hate it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So originally, it was 20 other different things. And even, you know, I do want to be clear, it's not a business. We're not making money off of it. We're not registered as a business. That definitely is where the idea was originally. But when we started traveling, especially to do something high quality, the way that people who have a background like us want to do, we're not just shooting this shit on our iPhones. We don't even have iPhones. Let me just clarify that. We're Android people, and I don't even know what my phone is called. So,
I mean, but I was trying to, every city we went to, I was taking, you know, drones,
3 fucking cameras.
I had my slider, you know, just all this extra stuff.
Tripod.
My backpack was like 10% clothes and like 50% camera.
That's what intrigued me to start
50, that
a
didn't even
conversation with you guys. It was, I think I picked you up at 4 a.m. to go to the airport.
It's the cheapest
You had
ticket.
all these bags. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then
know.
we
I
told
just
you
talked to everybody. I'm like, what the hell is all of
Yeah.
that stuff?
I don't even remember what we took to Seattle, but yeah,
We
took
took
a
the
lot
drone.
for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, and by that was literally like the epiphany we had in Seattle. I was just like, man, this is work right now. This is really
It's
like
just-
a lot of work.
If you honestly love traveling, then don't do it. You know what I mean? I feel like the people who can do good travel videos they want to go to that place just to shoot that cool video.
Yeah.
We wanted to actually fucking travel and like
Yeah,
enjoy.
experience the
One of the
things.
things, you know, you say it's not a business, you haven't LLC'd or incorporated, which is fine, but you guys have 20,000 people
followers,
who follow
yeah.
you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's a move.
That's been nice.
Yeah, like galvanizing that isn't an easy thing.
Yeah, and that's thanks to my marketing background. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
So I don't all these little
these
changes
pieces.
I've made, I've not once felt like, you know, and I just want to, if there is anyone creative listening too, I know like a lot of creative people do take many different turns and feel like, oh man, I'm starting over again, and what the fuck, am I ever gonna? But all those little pieces
It
that
builds
you're
to, like, your
right,
portfolio. It
you
just
know what
gives
I'm
you-
saying?
yeah.
It's like you take those little, you know, even being a teacher last year, the comfortability with public speaking. I have that some from my marketing background too, but now forget about it. Like if I can tell 35 18-year-olds to shut the fuck up and listen to me for 25 minutes. Like, I can talk to any fucking group of people. You know what I mean? And no one's going to intimidate me.
Your video for the Women's March, I love that. I wish, I know your 20,000 followers saw it, but I definitely, there's some things that you see that you're like, everybody needs to see this. There were so many videos put out there, a lot of people on their phones videoing, look at these thousands of people, but, the videos that you guys have been putting out are super engaging and tell information and are community driven. And then I also like, what nonprofits have you guys engaged with? Yeah.
So when Corey said earlier, when we first came up with Dobs and Dubs, our original concept was, well, let's travel. Let's create by, making these videos. He's creating music specific to the area that we're in. He's going to start launching a cartoon soon, and we want to do some sketches soon also. So that's something different. But we want to travel, we want to create, and then we want to give back to each community so that we're leaving something better than just coming and taking and consuming and then dipping out. You know what I mean? So originally we were thinking, we'll just link up with a nonprofit in the area and we'll give them one of our days. And most of our trips are 3 days because we don't make a ton of money. We can't take 2 weeks off at a time. And then that turned out to be not really a thing that exists that much. So we started trying to find nonprofits where we were like, hey, I'd be emailing people, hey, we're going to be in town for the day, a couple days. We're not from the area, but we'd love to work with y'all for the day. Maybe a lot of food banks, for instance. They want people to come in and do sorting, going through whatever. It's just stuff that you can actually show up for a day, do, and go. And it just turned out that so many of them wanted, we want 2 times a week commitment for a year. We want this, we want that. It wasn't like you could just come in and leave.
It's hard to volunteer.
That's one of the things we've been talking about a lot, is that it's hard to get involved with the community or even with an organization, a grassroots social justice group, because I don't know that they realize that they alienate a whole community that wants to be there for them. So that was something else that was interesting, because I thought sometimes it was just me, or sometimes I would go to a group where it would just be all black kids, all brown kids. Why can't we just have them mixed up so that they're not having any kind of anxiety or against each other as well, and start building them more as a community instead of, this group only helps this style of kid, this group, how about just the whole community come in, because everyone could be poor, so being poor doesn't discriminate.
For sure.
I think that falls into the actual grant writing. The grants become very specific about the demographic that you're engaging, so what ends up happening, because of the federal dollars letting the system into your business, you end up having more nonprofits that become segregated within their movements because they're chasing after certain money that fit the demographic that they're trying to cater to. Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah, so what ends up happening, in communities out here in Denver, is you have very specific styles of nonprofits that only engage certain demographics because that's what the money is there for. And not just that, there's a lot of segregation and segregation within what's happening in the nonprofit world. Nobody speaks about it, nobody talks about it, but it's definitely there. So it's the nonprofit game is one of those games where you need the work, you need the people who are there, but the higher ups or whoever's in charge, they have an ego issue themselves that, if that person who's the higher up or who's the head, and they say that they're open, but within them being open, they never deal with any demographic outside of what they're accustomed to.
Yeah, right.
I just catered in an event, me and Desiree Zarabia for Chinook, and we had a ton of food not touched, still in the original pans, not touched. So we're like, what are we gonna do with all this food? So I had actually told him, and he was like, take it downtown, and I was like, oh, brilliant idea. So I went to what is the Jesus Saves?
Yeah, that's it's the
but it's called something. It's not just that.
Yeah, it's the homeless shelter downtown. Is the
I just always think of the sign since a kid, and they were like, we can't take that. We can only take it directly from. So you could go and pay and have them cater, which is, You know, so you can't even.
Of course. That's the
Because
way it is all
that
the time.
becomes a lawsuit thing.
Yeah.
Because if you give them that food, someone gets sick, then
Then they
can
get
sue them.
sued, and it's
I
about
used-
money.
Yeah, I used to work for Walgreens, the warehouse, and we used to literally throw dumpsters of food away,
Yeah.
water, everything, because
Bullshit.
it wasn't even spoiled. It has like a factory date or a warehouse date. If it isn't out the warehouse and in the store by that date, they throw it away. They used to like sell it to the employees and stuff like that, but that's what happens. Somebody ended up getting sick from it, ended up suing them, so they would rather throw the food away than give it to somebody and
Yeah.
potentially get sued.
Of course, man.
Which is crazy because when you add up all the food that's being thrown away from everywhere, it's billions
Billions, yeah.
more than even that $1 million dumbass lawsuit. That, you know what I mean?
Because
Like,
what's interesting is they'll determine some collateral damage for something else. Like, oh, we can lose 10% of the old people if we implement this. That's fine.
Yeah.
But one person gets sick and then we can't, donate
It's a
food.
numbers thing. They look at like, okay, we can throw all this away. This is going to cost that much, but this lawsuit could potentially cost us this much, so we'll just throw it away.
And it's a
Yeah.
mark against your business.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
lawsuits don't look good on the business.
yeah.
No, they don't.
In other countries, though, they're like, I believe France, for instance, it was 2 years ago they implemented to grocery stores. I'm not sure if it extends to
I don't think it was
restaurants,
I think it
but
was just grocery stores.
grocery stores, if they have anything that's
Viable
expired
produce, yeah.
or even produce that maybe has a little small mark on it or some little thing you can just cut off, they have to donate it now by law. Otherwise they get fined. It's an outrageous fine too. It's like $5,000 per offense, and one offense can be like one fucking tomato. So if you have a whole, and they're taking that shit seriously.
I think there's
so.
something going. They just started. I seen something on Facebook maybe last year, to where there is like someone out here that's going around to these places, is getting ready to throw food away, and they collect it, and then they go and they give it to the homeless.
Just make people sign a waiver that says I won't
Yeah,
sue
right.
if they can get food. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because I've worked at restaurants too where we're throwing away loaves of bread, rolls. They're in bags, like.
And restaurant
sealed,
standards
you know
are just
what I mean?
higher.
It's like-
Restaurant and grocery store standards are higher than your standards at home. I mean, not to say that I eat gross food or anything, but like
Yeah.
if a yogurt's a
Expired
day
yogurt.
past I'm still gonna eat it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
I'll smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
eat it for
It's
5
fine.
days.
so
Yeah.
it's just crazy how much they waste. I mean, I waste too, but trying to
Yeah.
at least.
Not at such a large scale.
Yeah.
So are you guys trying to figure out another way to kind of give
Yes.
back, since that's difficult?
Yeah, so I'd love to talk about that. First of all, though, I do want to give a shout out to a nonprofit who is local here in Denver, who literally, I don't know this person personally, but I love what they're doing because it addresses the problem we were just talking about, where they kind of, the nonprofit world will make things so difficult to volunteer that it excludes half the people who would anyways.
Yeah.
There is a nonprofit here called Project Helping, and I believe their website is projecthelping.org. And it was started by a young man here. Again, I don't know him personally, but I have talked to him, met him a few times when we were volunteering through them. And it does exactly what we were just complaining about. It is a nonprofit that connects people to other nonprofits who just want to volunteer for one day.
Yeah,
So it-
facilitates everything for you.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
so they
good.
actually find these easy little one-off opportunities, and they just list all of them so people can go and just be like,
Nice.
Yeah.
I have that one
Even
day
if you wake
off.
up on a Saturday and you're like, you know what, I don't have anything to do today. Like, that's how we got connected with
Urban Peak.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know Urban
I used to
Peak.
work with Urban
Yeah,
Peak.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
so every time we've gone down
Making
there too, it's
breakfast.
just been Project Helping. Oh, hey, we're gonna come down. Yeah, sure, come on down. And it's like just like that.
Yeah, super
Next
easy.
thing we know, we're doing the breakfast at Urban Peak, which is
awesome.
always a blast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so when we realized that we couldn't do what we thought we could do in the beginning, we were like, how the fuck? Like, obviously you can be kind in your own way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm like, let's just do this ourselves. And we found Project Helping. That connected us with Urban Peak. We've worked with them several times making breakfast for homeless youth in Denver. They work specifically
Right.
with young people. So it's a really great building.
Is it only on Thursdays? I was gonna say if people want to
Tuesday,
do it,
Thursday,
Tuesdays,
and I think
Thursdays,
they've added Saturdays now.
and it's like just basically go in and
Couple hours.
Yeah, help them prepare
Scrambled
the food.
eggs.
Scrambled eggs,
Pancakes,
pancakes.
tater
If you're a
tots.
short order cook, just go in there and sling some hash for a little bit and
Yeah, it's
help
awesome.
some people
It's
out.
a lot of fun. The kids are really cool. They have, we also just did a huge haul through our closet of getting rid of some shit. And
Oh, yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to donating to a place like Goodwill, you can donate your clothes straight to Urban Peak for the teens who are homeless right now, who can just get their clothes for free instead of just cheap people who shop at Goodwill. You know what I mean?
I'm an advocate about giving clothes to, and where I usually take mine and my family's is to the hospitals.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Because when people go to the ER, they cut their clothes off. A lot of them are homeless, or
that's
I didn't even think about that. That's so true.
So they like to have stuff on hand that they could go through that are, people could fit in, and
idea.
Kids and whatever.
Do all hospitals accept that?
Yeah, all of them do. Usually, I just drop them off to the emergency room.
Yeah.
And whatever emergency room.
That's where they
they're
need it the
helpful.
most.
Yeah, and they'll usually, because I've worked in the hospital scene for the last 13 years, they usually will put out a notice to employees. And, people get in their own little, groove, and then they've got stuff going on. Looking at additional emails is not really a thing.
Yeah.
So usually I try to tell people too, I take all my dad's stuff, my sister's stuff, my nephews, and take them down there.
I'll
And then the
include that in the
homeless
video.
people, they'll bring them in, even if they're, having some issues with a drug overdose. Maybe they, soiled themselves, whatever.
Yeah.
They at least try to give them a clean change of clothes to send them out, because obviously they're
It's
not at
embarrassing.
social services. But
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I'll include. We're actually going to do a video very soon, because before we actually hand the clothes over to Urban Peak, I wanted to make a video kind of highlighting, hey, next time you do donate clothes, don't just drop them off at Goodwill, because I shop at Goodwill. There's nothing wrong with that, but
No.
I'm not homeless. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Homeless people need clothes for free,
So,
not $5.
at the-
You know what I mean?
the CEO of the Denver Women's Chamber, she had this really snazzy suit on, and she came, and I was like, that's a beautiful suit. And she's like, yeah, I got it at Goodwill.
Nice.
That's nice.
So I got a question. So what's the long-term goal, within the next 5 years? Where do you guys see the business kind of growing? What you guys are doing within, videoing, traveling, engaging community? Where do you guys see that growing to?
Go ahead.
So I really want to put more of the community stuff that we're doing into video and put it out onto Dobs and Dubs. So right now we don't have any intention of making money off of Dobs and Dubs. It's really just spreading the word and putting content out there. I mentioned earlier that Corey is about to launch a new cartoon that he's really excited about. So we also want to get some more creative material on Dobs and Dubs.
The other thing you didn't mention that I think we should, and it's one thing near and dear to me, because I've always wanted to travel, never had the means. And, I meet a lot of people that I have these meetings with who traveled internationally, as, they took they went before college and just traveled abroad. That was never something attainable. So one of the things that you say on your website is that, you want to share the experience and show people how they can do the same thing.
For budget.
And for budget. And you put things on there that are Norwegian, that was $198, that there's no reason why someone can't get $198 together to go on this trip, and ways to be economically savvy and be on a budget on the trip too. So I think that's one thing you did say too, which is a huge gift, because people don't know how to get this information. We don't know.
Yeah, we went to, so far, when we take our honeymoon, we're going to England and Italy, and we literally waited for so long and looked at all different tickets, and we kind of just had an open schedule and an open mind, and we just picked whatever ticket was the most affordable and then kind of went from there. You know what I mean? So our tickets were very, very inexpensive. But aside from that, the only other country we've been to has been Mexico so far. And even with that, we did a Groupon getaway. And a lot of people were curious about that, because they were like, I've always wondered about Groupon, but is it legit? Am I going to get robbed? Or So we did, and everyone responded really well. And even when we were there, it was an all-inclusive
Very cool
resort. And it was awesome, because it actually was flying out of Denver, which doesn't happen often. Usually the deals are
JFK,
out of Miami, JFK, the big ones, you know. So it was straight out of Denver. It was only $650 a person for 4 nights, or was it 5 nights? Yeah, 4 nights, all-inclusive,
everything.
round trip.
Wow.
Alcohol, food, hotel, your resort, everything.
That's a really good deal.
Right. And the resort itself had activities, yoga, Spanish fucking classes, salsa
that's
dancing. Like, it just, you didn't need, just buy that little deal and you were set for the whole time.
Cool.
You didn't need anything else. So everyone was very curious about that, and we did even a little Q&A at the end because we knew people would have a lot of questions. So that's huge for us because we don't have fancy. I mean, I quit teaching since my diagnosis, and now I sub because I can just literally pick and choose whatever dates I want to work, and if I don't want to work, I don't have to work. And that was a very, very intentional decision to like morph into that lifestyle of like calming the hell down because I'm very much an overachiever and like just
also giving
to
us time to to get back to what you were saying, give us time to figure out what direction we are going in with this stuff, because I don't think we don't plan on making like a profit with Dobbs and Does, but like she said, expanding, just kind of keeping it going without it being such a heavy stressor on our lives, and then just finding other ways to get our creative stuff out there, because that's always been my intention, is like, can we just get on there? Can I just like put on a webcam and be like, hey, you guys should go to, like the Urban Peak one we're gonna do, you can go donate clothes and that's cool, but if it's got like a chill beat behind it and it's visually entertaining and the keeping it short, because everybody's my attention span's insanely short, so it's like one of those things is trying to basically make it entertaining by still getting information out there. So a lot of videos we would watch about like nonprofits and stuff, they're good, there's not the feel that I think
they're
people
boring.
they're
boring.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I've done those before too, like, and people have like a certain thing they want to see and they don't understand that that's not enticing. And so when you like, especially when we taught last year, a lot of like the interchange with the kids was them telling me, hey, we're 15, 16, 17, and this is what we actually care about, and this is what's going to lead us to think about these things. So I was like, all right, if I put a hip-hop beat behind it, if I put cool graphics on it, if I keep the visuals going and have the information being quick, they're going to pay attention to it way more than if I just was like, well, you guys know you should go help out nonprofits because this, that, and the other, and that's just in one ear out the other. So,
because I think that was a big part of us making Dobbs and Dubs too, is it was the first, Corey and I are both the youngest children, so it was the first time that we were adults who were submerged by teenagers. And I don't know if you guys go hang out with teenagers ever.
I teach.
You teach? Yeah. Okay, so what grade do you teach?
I teach all grades right now. I kind of contract out.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you know then it's like being an adult, even though you remember being a teen, but when you're an adult and you're around teens, you're
disconnect.
Like, oh, shit. These people are crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, these kids are nuts. Like, they're hilarious, but it's... And then you see, how influential they are, how easily, social media, you know what I mean? All the stuff that's out there, all the stuff they're idolizing right now. It's cool to not give a fuck, which I'm the queen of I don't give a fuck, but I still give a fuck about something. I have interests and passions and hobbies, and I care about people. I don't care what you think of me, but I'm not going to have this I don't give a fuck about anything. You know what I mean? And it's cool to be petty now. It's cool, no feelings and no this. And it's like, I get it, but we have young eyes on us all the time. You know what I mean? So we were like, we need to put something a little more positive out there that shows kids that, like, it is fucking cool to treat people good. You know what I mean? It's not cool to be an asshole. Cool, right. You can be cool, but you don't have to be a piece of shit. There's a difference. Like you
can help out people and still be like,
still have your
like
style,
a lot of the kids that we taught, like, in game for them was like NBA, you know what I mean? Like rapper or like or business mogul.
Yeah.
Like they're
I personally think it's just the way you gotta look at everything that's on TV. That's what they see.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, they don't see scientists.
Exactly.
They don't see doctors getting the publicity that they should get. So that's what they want to do. They want to be in the spotlight.
Right, exactly. And it looks so attainable and so easy. Did you guys hear? We talked about this on the way here. Bow Wow, formerly Lil Bow Wow. He's Bow Wow now.
Yeah.
He Googled a photo of a private jet
Yes.
and posted it on
I
his
seen it on
Instagram.
Instagram. I seen it on
as
Instagram.
his.
Yeah, I
and it
did
was
see
like
that.
the first
Google
And then
image.
somebody else
Google
took a
image.
picture of him while he was in the plane. They were like, no, he's actually right here on
Yes.
He's in a regular
Oh my
plane.
God.
regular plane. Yeah.
Which is like, why did you have to act like you're not in a regular
Right.
plane?
It's all about
Right.
looking a
Image.
certain way. It's all about
Image, yeah.
image.
Of course.
That's
Which-
all Instagram is.
And it's funny because, you know, like there's one kid in particular I had to talk to about the image thing because he got a job. He's super psyched about it. He's working. He's paying mom. I don't even remember what he said. He's like, I'm paying rent. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, like $50. I'm like, all right, that's not rent,
It's
but
still good.
it's
It's still
decent. And then he comes in with like these incredibly ridiculous bright red shoes with a whole bright red outfit. I was like, let me guess, you just picked that up. He's like, yeah. It's like, what is the value of money right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
That was 4 weeks of work.
But then he explained to me that he's gotten compliments all day. He's being tagged on people's Instagram, and it's just more
priority.
important. It's just more important to him.
We're egotistical creatures.
Of course.
And it's just feeding it to us. We
Yeah,
just want to
man.
be seen
Yeah.
like, oh, that looks nice. So.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I got a
want
question around
feedback.
that. So, like right now, we're in a very social media driven world, right? Everybody can have like direct interaction with each other, like instantly. So, within that, do you feel that like what you're building right now is a whole new culture and engagement on social media?
I think
Do
it's
you
a
feel-
part of a culture.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that personally, I was just talking to the engineer about podcasting in particular, and like this expanse of social media is allowing everybody to have a voice. So part of the culture is the ego, and it is there, but also part of the culture is introducing them to like cool, you know, quote unquote cool scientists or somebody who's like outside of the box they wouldn't necessarily get to like on NBC or something.
yeah.
They can go to like you know, like Twitch and live stream something that is completely independent of anybody who might say that they can or can't do something. And now it's like a complete different culture on the internet that I love.
I love it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And it's got its harsh parts. You know, there's people who have a
just raw.
voice that
Yeah.
it's very raw.
That shouldn't be heard by anybody.
Right?
I'll say it. I know you
yeah.
won't.
No, yeah. I was going to try to tiptoe around that one. But yeah, they shouldn't be heard by any.
Yeah.
But they do have that out there. And I think that that's really helped shift, and it has gotten into some ego stuff, which, you know, it's going to happen in every medium that comes up. But at the same time, you know, especially she has an Instagram that she shares with her students, and they are very proud to post stuff on there about them doing good things because it's an
Oh, yeah.
influence.
I
It's
did do
a
that with them.
spread. Instead of them, you know, sitting there and watching like TV and being like, oh, I want to be, you know, a rock star. It's like, oh, well, you know, they call her Miss Weber. It's like, oh, Miss Weber's doing something cool. Why don't I go out and do something cool too? So it's a very like,
And I bribed them with money.
Yeah, it's motivation.
It works.
Yeah. But I think it's been a good like branch, and we're just trying to be a part of that culture that's honest, good, entertaining. You know, and I already said honest, but real. You know, it's just
yeah.
real.
I think also it's the ebb and flow, I guess I want to say, of the internet, because this, I mean, it's so recent that it's an everyday thing for all of us. You know, social media, like, so how I kind of picture it is, I'm not really surprised. You know, humans are selfish. We are egotistical. That goes back to biology for self-preservation. We have to be ego. We have to think of ourselves first, because if we don't, we could get killed, this. We don't really need that mindset anymore, because we have all these comfortable things. We're safe. We're not hunting our own food. We're not under attack all the time. You know what I mean? But
Our priorities are different.
right, I think with the internet and social media, I think it's like, so if you had a big fat chocolate cake in front of you for the very first time and you tasted it and you're like, oh shit, I have to eat the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? And you're just overindulgent, and then you realize what you've done and what this is, and you have some point of reference now, and you're like, okay, I need to.
You see a
take a
MySpace
step
photo
back.
from like 12 years ago, and you're like, holy shit.
You know what I mean, though? Like, it's not surprising to me that as selfish and egotistical as humans are, that when we are introduced to something at first, we're just going to overconsume, and now we're hitting our first wave of people being like,
balancing
maybe we
out,
should maybe we should put some better shit online. Or like, did you guys see that the stacks challenge or whatever, you know, like the stacks of money where they put it together?
Yes.
And now they're doing books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was so fucking dope to me.
Right,
I was
right.
like, yes, like I love that
oh,
shit.
okay, like
You know
actual
what I mean?
books.
Actual books, and you're facing out so you can see the titles, and then a lot of people will use the photo as an opportunity to talk about education, or you know, my mom raised me with books, or my dad did this, or you know, I like that shit.
I do. I love it.
I love it.
I feel with the movements that are happening right now that the big networks have only so long to actually live.
I love it, man.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, yes.
And people only have so much longer to keep ripping us off and pulling a quick one over us, and there's more transparency,
More
and people are
exposure,
being more calling more shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, even on Instagram there was the whole wave of everyone's looking perfect, the angles, the booty, the you know, now there's a whole wave of girls coming out sitting normally, showing their little roll on the side, and just being like, look, this is my cellulite on my ass, this is my stretch marks on my boobs, like this. It's more of a thing now. We had that first wave of perfection, and now we're having the first wave of people being like
real.
I think the internet's realizing that honesty is the best policy, and it's kind of like been scary, like you're saying, it's real raw, but it's that rawness that's gonna stop other entities from taking over and making it something that it's not. Like, you know, if anybody out there is listening, net neutrality, let's get on that. Let's not, like, you know, let's stop these like things that are encroaching on our honesty and our truth and stuff about it. And you know, there are the extremes to both sides of things, and those are kind of the outliers, but the people in the middle really need to group together and continue it and
keep it going.
And like this, like just try to make it cool for, you know what I mean? Like, it's like almost like the cigarette commercials in like the 50s. We just need to keep making things look cool, and then sooner or later everybody's gonna like jump on the bandwagon, because you know it's like you got all these like kids and stuff who do like a lot of the students in my class last year would want to do like prank videos, or like
those were trending.
They wanted to like do stuff where they're like hurting their, like jackass style stuff, or like hurting their friends and stuff, but then it kind of morphed into like, oh no, let's like tell an actual story or do something actual real. And then, like you said before, I think it was just the oversaturation, and everybody goes through that period. I mean, I know I did, and it just, you come back on the other side hopefully being a little bit more balanced on things.
You guys are very optimistic. Me, on the other hand, I believe society will continue to decline.
You know, I got both sides of the ball.
We're given too much pleasure at all times. Of course, like we're overindulging in it, you know. Yeah. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, like, you know, like the whole social media thing is, in terms of history, is kind of new, so people are just like into it. But I think they know the formula. They're going to just keep giving us stuff.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going to pull back. Exactly. Just get us addicted to sex.
And distracted.
I think like the internet, like right now, is like the equivalent of what TV was in the 1960s, in the sense that like in the 1960s, TV was the first time that we had access to be able to observe people getting their heads beat over their heads.
Everything.
Everything.
But TV went off though.
Exposure.
Well, that's when they started like actually like shutting down the TV waves, like right around the 70s and 80s.
Sign off, man. Nobody signs off anymore.
Like,
last sign off I saw was like 1996.
You got thousands of channels, 24 hours a day. So if you just want to sit in the house and throw your life away watching TV,
deliver everything. You can get food.
You don't have to leave.
You don't have to leave.
It is. Everybody's gonna get big and fat.
And now you know. So you know, Facebook is like virtual now, to where you can take trips. You can put on the VR headset.
I have that. My brother has that at the house.
I'm like, they making it so
people are gonna be like, why do I ever have to leave?
Yeah, I have a friend. I have a friend who has an Oculus Rift, and he just disappears into this world. It's a VR, thing. Yeah. He's just in this world all of a sudden, like fighting bad guys with a sword. It's like, all right,
and then it's like social media is making it awkward for people to interact.
Man,
face
I've
to
had
face.
so many weird interactions.
You'll have these people that interact all the time on Facebook, but then you see them in real life, and they're just these people. They don't know how to talk to you.
They don't know how to talk like people.
So there's a young comic here in the city, and he's already kind of socially awkward, and he actually is. What does he have? He has something
Autism.
as well. He's autistic. He has mild.
on the
Yeah,
spectrum.
and he was literally on social media like, why doesn't I want a girlfriend, send her to me. Like he was.
Tell me
Well,
about
because
that.
you're so used to like meeting people that you're in the DM, you're talking on here, you never go out and like meet people. So when he meets them, he's so socially awkward that he meets someone and they're like, well, this dude's weird. You know what I mean? But when you have a conversation with him via social media, he's so smart and he's
So
fun to talk
outgoing,
to.
yeah.
But in real life, he's very, withdrawn and shy. And then like how you were saying, most of the comedians that I work with, they're very depressed. They're not
Totally.
happy
Oh, for
people in
sure.
real life.
Yeah.
So it's
make a
interesting
joke
to
out of
see that
everything.
too. And when you see them on social media, they look like they're happy.
Of course.
When I first started my business, and I think the first year I did like 33 shows out of the gate, I started getting friends from like high school that were sending me proposals to like sponsor their kids' teams. I'm like, I don't have cable. I don't have a car. Like, I've definitely gotten rid of like everything that isn't a necessity to do this business, but they have
The
this
illusion.
perception
Right.
that,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
totally.
you're doing well.
Smoke and
It's not
mirrors.
that I put it out there. People assume, like me with travel, I don't have a ton of money, so I can't go anywhere, you know? Or she's out here doing this, she has to have money,
Yeah.
you
Right,
know?
right.
But it's not. It's getting that balance of bartering services, helping someone out, and then in turn they help you, and putting in the work and sacrifice.
Yeah, just showing up too.
So that's the
sometimes.
thing I think social media has shown. Like, I feel like too, a lot of people just with the racism and stuff that it has brought to surface as well, that people,
Which is good, I think.
yeah, it is good because then you're around someone. Like, there was an article posted in the Westward this week about the lack of black people in the improv scene and how the black people that are in the scene aren't given certain opportunities, and also within the improv scene, the way they marginalize the black community as well. And that was an article, and then all these other comics were putting in information, and some of them said some out-of-pocket shit. So then I was like, that's how this person really thinks. Because on Facebook, they feel like they're
I'm
safe,
filtered.
they're guarded, they could just say whatever the fuck they want, and no one's going to say anything. So I've appreciated that, too.
Well, that's what it is. That's what makes it so popular, is that you can choose to only pay attention to the things that go along with what you believe.
Agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in real life, you have to deal with that rejection if it comes. And a lot of people don't want to take that chance. So they'll avoid people in real life, but then they'll go on social media and they'll be vocalists all out.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selective exposure.
So one of the things, you'll both have to follow Anthony, but he likes to say some crazy, like, extreme stuff to engage and see what people are saying.
Yeah.
And the people in his audience, I don't think they've figured that out yet, because
That's
some of them
funny.
get super heated,
Of course.
and some of them get like,
I love that stuff too, by the way.
They kind of know my sense of humor now. At first, people used to get mad at me. They used to be sending me DMs.
like
You are.
all his brown people following were mad the other day. I was low key mad too, because he was like, we were talking about the immigration and
Oh,
the guy
yeah, I did
ordering
see that
your
yesterday.
tacos could
Yes, I did see that.
needed to speak English.
I just get mad when I go to the drive-thru and they got a person in there that cannot speak English and it takes me 20 minutes to order. That's it.
No, I got
to
it.
come up to the
I-
window and show it to him.
That's funny.
No. I say a bunch of crap though. I'm the nicest guy
I think
in
the
the world.
importance of saying things like that, it just builds out dialogue. Because the vast majority of people don't admit that they're thinking those things.
Yeah.
And because they don't admit
Yeah.
that they're thinking those things, those
don't get
conversations
them.
never happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's good that, you have somebody out there, people out there who, like, they push it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is being able to articulate really where you're coming from and be able to have, like, a building conversation rather than just, like, somebody just tearing you down. Of
course.
Because,
Right.
ignorance
And
and
it
stuff
actually
like that.
does, because I incorporate comedy into it. And
Yeah.
it actually does start like engaging conversations on a lot of things,
Oh, half the time, like, one of my favorite things to do with one of my coworkers is we go on Yahoo and we look at stories and we go down the comments, and they're some of the worst things.
That's what I'm saying. You can find the best racism in the comments of stuff like the racism.
YouTube,
I mean, and
Yahoo.
some of those guys be funny too.
Racism, sexism, just any ism.
Everything.
Any ism.
And it literally be a video of anything.
Of course.
It could be a video of a baby playing with a rattle, and someone would get in there and just, it'll be something so crazy.
Right.
Why?
And then you'll
It's
see a
crazy.
thread though that it'll be like we'll make like a comment like I'm sorry you feel that way, and the people are like, well, yeah, they're all coming in pissed off, and you're like, you explain to me like logically your position, and the next thing you know, you got some guy explaining why he thinks the Earth is flat, and which
Right?
So, but it was open enough to where I didn't shut him down, and then he didn't try to shut us down, because we started off with a comedic break, like, hey man, this is kind of crazy, but in a subtle way, I'm just going to be sarcastic. And then he was just like, oh, okay, I see. You're a reasonable person, and you're letting me be a reasonable person. You can believe whatever you want. Like, you can kind of do whatever you want, pretty much. But it's just funny to me, because there was no way I was ever going to talk to that human in real life. And
That's true.
Especially if he was walking around holding up a sign saying like flat earth or whatever. Which, if there's anybody that listens that believes in that, all right, I'll just leave that one alone.
Let's
We'll let
stop.
you believe what you want to believe.
Yeah.
Somebody I know has a joke that he said he's afraid of getting into a conversation with somebody that he knows he's right, but they're smarter than he is, so they can explain their
All the
point.
time.
Yeah, totally.
And he used like the flat Earth, and
course.
this guy was like spouting up all these scientific reasons why the Earth could possibly
Yeah,
be
man.
flat. And he's like, you know what, fuck you.
Right.
Like, that was one of my
Not, but
recourse.
fuck you.
It reels back to. That's funny, man. Yeah, it's just everybody's got a point of view, but as long as we hopefully respect people, but it seemed like you were saying, and I am pessimistic. I'm about 50-50. I think it can go in the right direction, but sometimes you see stuff and you're like, man, this is going in the exact wrong direction.
This is getting bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been getting bad.
I mean, I know y'all seen the in
Yeah.
Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Insane, man.
Yeah,
Like, I just couldn't. I had to
Charleston.
walk away from my computer because I was just updating like Twitter every 5 seconds just to see like what was going on. And we were watching the videos last night and stuff. And every time that stuff comes up, I just think like, what are you even doing? Like, what is like?
Well, what's interesting to me is how they allowed it to go on for so long. Because if it was a different style, a group, if it was a bunch of black people, or
But it
it
should have never even been allowed to happen, because they didn't get permits. You gotta have permits and stuff to assemble like
They had
that.
their own
They didn't have
security
any
instead of
that.
the police.
But
Yeah.
they had police security, but they wouldn't protect Beyonce because she made a video about police violence. Didn't say anything, just made a video representing it. And they would say, well, we're not going to come in concert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember?
Wow. Yeah.
So they
Crazy.
can just pick and choose who they want to, you know what I'm saying? But it lets you see their mindset, you know what I'm saying? People say,
But that goes back to what I said too: is they're not here to protect us; they're here to withhold,
Oversee us.
oversee us.
I'm about to say that's what they are. Yeah, they're
That's all it
overseers.
is.
That's
Yeah,
all
the
they are.
overseers. Yeah, I feel like everything that's happening right now in Virginia actually is happening like right up the street from where my dad lives in Virginia, which is even deeper. But it's where we were at in America. I think that like we've oppressed like the reality of the tension that's happened here in America for so long. And like I've traveled internationally and racism is everywhere.
Yeah.
But America hides it, and I think that's what makes it such a gross style of thing. Is like you can feel it here, you can see it, but nobody wants to admit that it's happening. And I think that right now we're just having to look at the realities of where we're currently at. And I feel that it takes like a forward-thinking young generation to kind of evolve and push that forward. I think it's always been that, but you're gonna have old ways of thinking that don't die, but you gotta overflood that with some new.
With the
with
biggest
the
thing
truth.
people need to understand is that it's not a black and a white thing. It's a have and have not thing.
It's a systematic.
Yeah, it's a systematic thing, and
systematically
it's-
designed, definitely.
But I mean, that's what they've done since slavery was abolished is that they separated common white and common black people.
Yeah.
Because they know
Them against each other. Yeah.
Exactly. If they come together and exchange ideas, then they could
We
potentially
can overthrow the government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Racism
But that's
extraction.
because that's what happened when they freed the slaves. The poor whites and the poor blacks, they actually started to go after the people that had the money, that had the slaves.
Yeah.
And that's when they formed the police force. They said you make sure
Gotta
these
stop
niggas
them.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't do to us what we tried to do to them.
And they've been doing their job well
It's
for
all
the
about
last.
money.
And now it
100
perpetuates
years.
itself. And you
100
have people that are racist that get into the police force because in their mind they're thinking, well, I'm protecting my people.
Of course.
Well, I mean,
You know.
they don't even have a way of screening it at this point.
You
so,
can't. Because, and this is another thing I'm saying, like, we need to stop going after people that say stuff. Because what we're doing is we're giving people a blueprint of what to say and what not to say to get past
not
the
be
line.
caught.
Like you just said, they're
Exactly.
hiding it, man. It's
Exactly.
perfectly hidden in, behind somebody's eyes because they can say, hey, how's it go? I was going to say, somebody who, it could be a racist to see you on the street, like, hey, pat you on the back, how's it going? Just to move through their day.
Right.
But then they go home and that's not their intention towards life. And it's just crazy to me. But it's just the like you said, if the poor people could like focus on the actual driven thing, then there wouldn't be so many of these like small things, one-off, like community things. Let's them get mad at you, you get mad at them, and it's just
They need to keep us distracted and do it against each other because then we're easier to control.
And they get us split up. They made it to where if you didn't have much, you had to depend on the government and not depend on community.
Other
Right.
people.
So they separated us
Yeah.
in that way, to where we don't barter anymore. You feel like I got to go to get food stamps, so I got to get this, I got to get that. No, if you have a skill, you can do stuff for people in your community,
And
and
be able to
they'll
exchange
feed you,
that.
they'll help you out if you.
And they
know
took
what I'm
away
saying?
farming and
Exact-
they ruined the farming industry. Like if we all had our own little, you know what I mean? Like, we grew potatoes, you guys grew some fucking green beans, and we
Exactly.
trade, we did this. People who had skill bartered, like you said,
Then it was actually an article about this lady. She was diabetic, didn't have a job, so she grew all her own food in the backyard. Well, I apparently
find her or something, right?
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
something happened to where she wasn't at home. They had fined her, and she had left. She came back. They had destroyed the garden. Of
course.
They came over
They
there.
do that.
So she
Zoning
rebuilt
law.
it. But they had like all these permits. You can't be this high. You can't have this much space.
Bullshit.
And I'm like, it's her. It's her house. It's her backyard. But they were regulating
her own fucking
how much
food.
she
I have
grow.
a friend named Mike Word who I ain't gonna say where he lives, but he catches rainwater. So
I have a
like,
friend who does that too.
It was
right, and like
guy
when
got
he was-
sent to jail.
Get
for that.
arrested or
well,
something.
he
Yeah,
got a
right.
ticket, like a huge fine for like catching rainwater because you're not allowed to. And he lives close to the mountains, so he's not allowed to catch rainwater. Which coming down mountain is what they said. It's like a certain fine that you get within it. But the dude doesn't care. He's like relentless about getting his rainwater.
Yeah.
And he has these huge tubs where he catches it and he filters it and he does it. But you have to break the rules sometimes in order
It
to
was
make advancement.
it was an old guy that actually went to jail for that. I seen the story, and then I seen this one couple. They tried to like move off into like the forest or something like
Live
that.
off the grid.
But they
and they
couldn't.
got arrested.
It's a law that you
They
have
don't
to
own the
get
property.
into like power and sewerage.
They're
to
like,
the
you
city.
have to use electricity,
Yep.
you have to have a social security, you have to be on the grid, you
Yep.
have to be registered and trackable. You know
Plugged
what I
into the
mean?
matrix.
Is this true? This is something that I've just randomly heard that since you travel, maybe you probably know. Is it true that some states are requiring U.S. citizens to have passports to go to like travel to New
That's
York?
supposed to be starting.
From a couple of states, yeah, it's starting.
Really?
January.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's a
They
new-
have signs all over
We're
the
out in
airport.
the same country still,
It's
right?
actually
We're in the same
Missouri.
country, right?
You would think.
Good old Missouri. I love St. Louis.
Kansas,
I do, but
Missouri.
man, there's some weird
Yeah.
backwoods thoughts.
I actually
and some
read
of that.
some conspiracy theory about it's some way to track us or something like that. It was something crazy, but it made how
I believe
conspiracy
it.
theories always make a little bit of
Gonna
sense.
go on record and say
But
I
it makes
believe
no
it.
sense. Why do I need a passport to travel in my own country?
Yeah.
So it's something behind it.
Can you still go to Puerto Rico,
they-
right? Or
it's,
U.S. Virgin Islands
Yeah,
or
you
Guam?
can,
Yeah,
yeah.
just-
It's only people from certain states, and they are very like, I don't want to be offensive, but like backwoods, rednecky states, like Missouri.
So,
hillbillies. They prefer hillbillies.
I think like Oklahoma,
They really do.
Kansas, and a lot of those states were states that terrorists were entering America and living in. Like Kansas was one of the big.
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
this is how it all started.
Because nobody looks for him in Kansas.
And it's also dirt cheap. And when you're an immigrant coming into the country,
Right.
it's extremely cheap. It's like the cheapest states to live in, basically. You know what I mean? Like Missouri,
Yeah.
Kansas, Ohio, Oklahoma. Like there's 6 of them. We only have 5 minutes.
I feel that like Trump, the whole reason that he's in here is to like really like start opening up like these new rules and laws and policies that they're about to pass on us. And really him being in place is nothing more than like the system, the government, people who have money. Really crunching down on the everyday person, you know, and like, and then the divide line between prosperity and have not is such a wide thing that people don't even realize it. Like, you're considered middle class at this point if you're making $165,000 a year.
Shit.
So, like,
That's
if you're
like
not
rich
even in
as
that
fuck.
Wait,
realm,
what? Say 165 is middle class.
For a family of 4 or something?
right, for a family of 4, 165 is middle class. So, like, the vast majority of people are under, if that's where the middle class line is, the vast majority of people are under it, right? And the people who have money, the style of money that they have, that's not credit, that's money.
Yeah.
So it's like old money that has been, some of it is new money, but most of it is old money that has been in existence for however long it's been in existence. They're billionaires.
Yeah.
So like billions compared to hundreds of thousands is a huge,
And they still don't want us to have shit.
and still don't want us to have
Nothing.
nothing.
I just
We
don't
can
even
have
understand
nothing.
that.
Exactly.
I never understood it. Like, one of the lessons I taught, and this was kind of piggybacking on one of her classes she taught last year about budgeting. I actually explained to the kids what $1 billion is. And because you say like, oh, it's like a lot of people just like, oh, million to $1 billion. That's not it's 1,000 million. You know what I mean? Like,
Take $1 million
so
check,
that guy,
give me 1,000.
that guy could lose. So let's say you're a billionaire minus taxes, whatever, all expenses, and you could spend $1 million a day for 1,000 days in a row. I don't even like, what is life then? You know what I mean? What is life actually based on? You know what I mean? Like, and then, you know, some of the poorest people I've met in my life, I don't know if he's still there, but there's this guy in St. Louis who, Otis, he runs like a food bank.
This guy on blast.
Well,
He's so poor.
No,
He lives
not
on
that.
30th and
Well, he's you know, he's had plenty of opportunities to, you know, raise himself up with money and through things and through opportunities, through speaking, this, that, and the other. But he chooses to live like an extremely poor in his same neighborhood lifestyle. And he's the happiest person I've ever met in my life. Like, truly happy. Like you were saying before, comedians can put on the front and stuff, and I do that too. And it's one of those things that I think a lot of people that are working through the grind of everyday life are stuck in that mode. And then I see this dude who literally, like, the church he worked for burned down, and like 2 weeks later, he already had like a makeshift, you know, food bank, and he was like, oh yeah, this is good. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So this is a different level here. And then, you know, you hand in money over and you're like, here's our donation. And you're like thinking, oh, this will make me happy by doing it. When in reality, the thing that would make you happy is either joining and volunteering or actually facilitating where that 1,000 or whatever goes to. Just kills me, man. Just kills me.
One of the things that Chinook says that I appreciate and really changed, like, how I look at giving is to donate something that is meaningful for you.
Yeah,
so if money's not meaningful for you, and volunteering time, because time is more valuable to some of us, then that's what you do. So this conversation went really fast. I felt like we learned to go out and get things. I just kind of want to go around the table and kind of just close out. Maybe tell people, you know, what you would like them to follow you and that kind of thing. And I'll go ahead and close out for 5280 Entertainment. Make sure you go to the Leo party at Bar Red. It's going to be off the chain. Anthony's going to be dressed like crazy cool, and DJ Skip Rib is going to have some dope music for us, and it's free. So come out to that.
I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know we're moving this direction. This next couple of weeks, I'm going to be dropping videos and dropping more information about my new project that's about to be released. You can find me, I believe, over at Meet in the Streets. And other than that, I've just been, getting ready to release this album. So there should be an art show in October over at Redline Art Gallery. Come out, support 5280, and support the Leo party that's going on at Bar Red. It's going to be lit. Skip Rip will be on the ones and twos, Anthony hosting, and LaRae taking your money.
This is for the ladies out there that are thinking about plastic surgery. Look, if you have a small breast and a small butt, Start with the butt first. Do not get a pair of big titties if you don't have any ass. It doesn't look right. You don't build a house from the roof down. You gotta have a good base, okay?
Solid foundation.
A solid foundation. Thank you. I'm trying to help you out. You look fun. You look like an upside down capital L.
It's true.
And send those nudes. He still needs more nudes.
Send your news to me. They are safe with me. ArmstrongComedy.com.
That's funny, man.
Safe with me. God. So you can check out my Thika Darling stuff. That's my thyroid cancer journey at thikadarling.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Thika Darling. And then
we also have Dobbs and Dubs, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook. Facebook's our most popular, so it probably, not that it would be hard to find anything, but Dobbs and Dubs videos are all on YouTube, but every piece of actual content is linked back to Facebook in some way.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to bother with all the rest of them, you can just chill on Facebook and find out what we're doing.
Your YouTube channel's nice too.
And hopefully
all your stuff on YouTube.
Got a Dallas video coming out soon.
We gotta do more kindness stuff. I didn't get a chance to talk about that, but we have done so many kindness things that we've just done on our own, all through social media.
We gotta get you guys back on here.
Yeah, we sponsored some families. We did some Mother's Day boxes.
Yeah, we really
want
to talk about this stuff. And
we did so much shit, but we just talk about it.
Yeah, I think we talked about Florence Crittenton, because that's a place I donate some of the funds from some of my shows, and also items for the mothers who they're trying to help become thriving, money makers in society and not use their, So they need things like everything for their children and also school supplies.
Yeah.
So we had talked about that too. I remembered.
Cool.
Yeah. Come back sometime.
I'm pretty jealous of y'all relationship. Y'all don't they seem perfect? It's like because you seem like the overbearing one. He seems like he tones you down and you amp him up.
That's kind of what it is,
pretty much
man.
how it works.
It's not perfect, but it's good, man.
Don't say y'all
that amazing art component, like doing everything. And that's hard to find with artists. I feel like it's hard for two artists to, for a long period of time because ego or competition or something, always gets involved too. Yeah. Has he ever, just real quick, told you something you're doing isn't good? And how do you receive that?
And I wish he would. I wish he would, because I am all about constructive criticism. I am such a perfectionist.
Don't you believe that?
No, honestly, because I hear that's.
Don't you tell a woman she's wrong? Don't you do it?
We gotta go about it in the right way.
It's my family in particular. It's just my little family, me, my sister, my mom, and we just grew up calling each other out. You know what I mean?
Like they go through stuff that takes me and my family 10 years to go through. No joke. 10
years. One conversation.
They'll have a conversation, hate each other, call each other back the next day and be like, hey, how's it going?
We're good.
They're like, whoa, because it's just
up front. You know what I mean?
So I know she wants that from me, but I just haven't,
And he's very sensitive. I'm not as sensitive as he's very sensitive.
That's why all the truth comes out.
Yeah.
She's like, bring it on. Come on, tell me some
That's
truth.
what I'm like, because I want to get better. I'm constantly looking how can I get better? How can I grow? What are we going to do next? What's our And he's like, can we just slow the fuck down and be this for a little bit?
Stay the way you are.
For now.
Well, we've been balancing, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say, don't mess up the ecosystem. It works.
That's what you fell in love with.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. If he was too much like me, I would. Probably, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad I met you both.
Yeah, what a weird.
Right?
We've met some really cool people in lifts. Weirdly, just randomly, just one guy talked to us. Basically, he's running a Lyft taxi business. He's got rental cars, this, that, and it's insane. Yeah, and then we met you, and it happens to be a lot when we go to the airport. So it's a solid chunk of
which
30
is a
minutes.
great ride for us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "What time are you going?"
Oh yeah, my bad.
No.
Oh, yeah, man. It's great to have you guys on, man. Who knows? Maybe we can do something in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, we got to exchange some contact info.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you have been hanging out with us on BoomBapTricks. Check us out. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, download the app. www.allrealradio.com. Check us out on Twitch. WeAreDenver. And check us out, Ghost House Studios on YouTube. Peace.